Good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. You will not find another show in the metro area quite like this one because we talk about business expansion, real estate, construction, new restaurants and retail businesses. If you care about Omaha growing and becoming more vibrant and prosperous, you're in store for a really good hour for right now, starting right now. My co-host Trenton Magid has the weekend off, so in his stead, we have a familiar voice, Brad Williams from Brad Williams Photography and E&A Consulting. Good morning, Brad.
Hey, good morning, Jeff. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, great week here in Omaha, and we're going to talk a lot about it. But one of the greatest things that happened this week was your construction video. We send them out every month or two, and just had one that dropped earlier this week. What are some of the projects that people can see in the construction update video?
Well, thanks. I really enjoy making them. They're a lot of fun. I get out and see everything. This month was pretty much all downtown and midtown. Did Jocelyn Art Museum, the Kiewit Luminarium, did some, actually a little bit on the Iowa side with the I-29 interchange that's going up. Hotel construction out by UNMC. I think that's, and the hotel in the Moxie Hotel in the Old Market.
Yeah, I really like that part. So there's the one part where Brad puts the video on time lapse, and he goes through all of the four directions of the new I-29, I-480 interchange, which is partially done and very impressive looking, by the way. And so it's really cool to see how that works. You can see which bridges are open, which ones are not. But you know something about that video that freaks me out?
What's that?
Okay, so you do that time-lapse thing, so it goes by super fast, and then when it stops, it looks like you're going to rear end the car in front of you.
Yeah.
Because you're like, whoom!
Come up on them quick.
Scares the hell out of me. But great video. If you want to see the Grow Omaha construction update, just go to growomaha.com, click on shows, and click on construction update, and you can see that video there. Hey, and then we also have some restaurant reviews to tell you about that came out over the last couple weeks. Grow Omaha Eats is the series in which we review restaurants. It is written by Sarah Baker Hansen, who is Omaha's foremost and best known food critic. It's brought to you by Cheer Athletics. Cheer Athletics is an all-star cheerleading gym that provides amazing developmental and leadership and athletic opportunities for kids. And the Cheer Athletics Gym in Omaha is located at Highways 50 and 370 in Papillion. At any rate, last week, Sarah wrote about Phil's Deli, a traditional New York-style deli in the Old Market. And apparently the pastrami there at Phil's Deli, Brad, takes like a week to make. It's so authentic and so handmade that it takes days and days for this stuff to get ready.
That's awesome. I have not been down there yet, but I'm a pastrami fan, and that's definitely on my radar.
It's on mine, too. In fact, we should do a Grow Omaha lunch there sometime. We should get Trenton and good Chris Corey and the four of us go down there and do a Grow Omaha lunch. And then and Sarah had nothing but praise for this place. And then this week, the Grow Omaha Eats review was Canara, the new Canara in Regency. I have been to the new Canara in Regency. I went there for lunch a few weeks ago, and my goodness, it is good. And the atmosphere is beautiful. A lot of people probably went to the old Canara, which Sarah describes as a Millard hole in the wall, and it was. But now that they're in Regency, they're in this trendy, beautiful, large space.
Went from one end of the spectrum to the other.
Yeah, and as Sarah says in the review, the space now matches the food, which is always so good. And if you haven't been there and you're thinking, okay, Regency, it's actually in Regency Shopping Center where that Mode de Vie French restaurant was for a while. It was a really good place. Unfortunately, it didn't last very long, but it was quite good. Anyway, Canara's there. Those are the Grow Omaha Eats. And if you want to read those or any of the other reviews that Sarah has written for us on Grow Omaha, just go to growomaha.com. Click on EATS Eats on the navigation bar, and you can see all of the reviews. Shall we go into the news?
Sounds good.
All right. It's brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. Our good friend Holly Schneiderwind and her team at Eagle Mortgage do the best job of anyone around when it comes to helping you finance your new house. It's February now, and this is when the home buying season starts to heat up. Some people were kind of a little bit nervous about homes. Now people are thinking, hey, the economy economy is doing better than a lot of people thought. And the Fed interest rate was only a quarter point this time, so maybe that's slowing down a little bit. So a lot of people are starting to get excited about houses. We could find ourselves in another situation this year where you might be competing for houses. So if you're thinking about buying a new house, go to Eagle Mortgage. You can find them online at eaglemortgagecompany.com, or you can call them or show up at their office at 114th and Davenport. Talk to them, figure out your best options, get one of those pre-approval letters, and you will be set. So eaglemortgagecompany.com. All right. Well, the big news at the beginning of the week is that the rumors about a new downtown soccer stadium being in the works apparently are true. The owners of Union Omaha would like to build a $100 million, 10,000-seat stadium in North Downtown. It's a big price tag, and in order to make that happen, they're working with State Senator Mike McDonald of Omaha, who has introduced LB 621, which, if passed, would allocate possibly up to $50 million for this project. So a lot of things come to mind, Brad. Number one, A, it would be very cool to have another downtown stadium. B, where would it be? And C, how realistic is it that will we as a society and the owners will be able to come up with $100 million?
C's the hard one.
That's the tough one.
First of all, it feels good that we post a rumor and it came to fruition, because there was a lot of that was a big rumor, and it's good to see it come together. But I think the most people are thinking it's going to be just north of the ballpark, or a little northeast of the ballpark, in that big empty lot that Union Pacific owns.
Yeah, it's about 20-some acres, if I remember correctly. And if people are trying to picture this, every year they have a little track that goes in on the edge of it. And every year at the College World Series, they bring in that cool Union Pacific passenger train. When President George H.W. Bush died, they had his commemorative locomotive on display there for a few days. Some people may have gone down to see that. So it's right where that little track strip is. Beyond that, it's about, what, 25 acres?
Yeah, I believe
say?
It was 25, 27.
25 acres. Yeah. So a lot of people think they would build the stadium there. And if you angled it so that, I don't think they call them end zones in soccer stadiums, but if the end zone was pointing to the southwest, you'd have a heck of a skyline view.
Talking to a football guy here, apparently.
Yeah. I'm more football instead of football.
Yeah, I think it'd be like Creighton's, where the one end of it is open up to the city, and I think it'd be cool to see that, because that's a great view when you come in from the airport. Go over that little bridge, it'd be about the same view of downtown.
Then some people have said, what if they put it on Lot B? Lot B is that parking lot that is surrounded by the CHI Center, the Charles Schwab Field, and the Hilton. My guess is they're saving that for more of a mixed-use development down the road.
Yeah, that would be cool, and that would also be closer to the streetcar that is going to have a stop there by the CHI.
Yeah, and it would be really efficient, because presumably, like, if they used Mecca to manage this stadium, and maybe Union Omaha wants to manage it themselves, I don't know. But if they used Mecca, I mean, dang, it would be right there. It'd be very efficient.
Yeah, just a lot of the staff could work all three venues, or all four if you include the park now.
Yeah. Now, so the big question is paying for it. And I want this to happen. I think we need big blockbuster attractions in our downtown area to continue to become the greater and greater city we can be. I don't know, personally, Brad, I have a hard time seeing the legislature going for something that's local to Omaha.
Yeah, especially right now, they're all worked up about paying for the streetcar. So, I mean, that'd be one more big ticket item that Omaha's trying to do. So it's a tough environment right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one.
But I tell you what, the thing with soccer is there's a lot of people that I feel like my age and above that don't understand soccer. I'll be honest, I don't understand soccer that much. I'll go to a few games a year. But just under my age and younger, they're soccer fanatics everywhere.
Yeah.
All the younger guys at work, all they're talking about is soccer all the time. So it is truly like the up and coming sport around here.
Absolutely. And I'm with you. Like, I mean, I appreciate it. It's very athletic. I don't understand. It seems to me that their greatest skill is faking injury. Soccer players fake a lot of injuries better than punters in football. But that said, if they built this and all that, I'd go to a couple of games. Yeah. It'd be fun and presumably they would sell beer, which would help.
Yeah. And people always talk about stopping the brain drain, all the younger people leaving town. This is another thing that would help that.
Yeah, we'll see we'll keep our eye on it and hopefully something happens. The other question is, okay, maybe can they build a quality stadium that's not quite $100 million. I mean, if you think about it, $100 million for only 10,000 seats seems a little high. But then again, I mean, everything's getting more expensive with construction and construction materials.
And a lot of these stadiums too anymore, it's not about the stadium, it's about the environment, the atmosphere, all the add-ons. I mean, look at the SoFi Stadium out in LA. That was whatever, 15 billion, was that right? Something like that. It doesn't seat that much more than Arrowhead down in Kansas City, but all the things that go along with it really just put that price through the roof.
Yeah, those pro sports venues are an experience unto themselves. It's not just the game, to be sure. Well, construction has gone vertical on the first building at Google's Northwest Omaha data center campus. Google is building a 2.2 million square foot data center in more than one building on a 457-acre site near State Street and Highway 33. Omaha is already the largest operational concentration for Google anywhere in the United States. Rumor has it they're probably going to be taking out even more land than that. But speaking of rumors, Brad, we broke that as a rumor long before it was officially announced.
Yeah, snooping through the planning board documents.
Yep.
It's great that the planning board puts everything out there for the public to see. So
it's amazing what you can find.
Yeah, just snooping around and, oh, wait, what's this big development?
Yeah, this looks rather huge. Omaha Streetcar Authority launched a new website recently called Omaha Streetcar on Track. Go check it out. It does a great job of showing how the financing works, updated information. There's been a little bit of anti-streetcar sentiment lately in the legislature and in the media. I don't think it's well-founded. This is a damn good project that has been thoroughly vetted. A lot of very intelligent people have worked very hard on this. I am a fiscal conservative, and I have no hesitation and no doubt about the utility and value of this streetcar project. So if you are on the fence with this, check out this website that the Omaha Streetcar Authority has put together. You'll learn a great deal. It's a great, great project. And if you're feeling nervous about it, I can reassure you, just go back to CenturyLink Center or Quest Center or now CHI Health Center. Everyone's like, oh, it's a white elephant. We can't afford it. Could you imagine downtown Omaha or Omaha in general without that today? No. Streetcar will do great things too. All right, Cattlemen's Heritage Beef Company plans to build a processing plant near Interstate 29 and Bungie Road, technically in Mills County, but just beyond the Mills County line. So it'll almost feel like it's part of Council Bluffs or Pottawatomie County. This thing is projected to bring in $8 billion in revenue to the state of Iowa and the Omaha metro area. It was originally going to break ground last year, but, a lot of times, with the engineering and the pandemic and construction supplies, this stuff gets delayed often. So now construction is planned to start in the spring, and the plant is expected to employ 800 workers.
It's amazing that last mile or two of Pottawatomie County and that first half mile of Mills County, how many huge, huge projects are in there.
Yeah, it's an impressive industrial area because you think about it, you've got this new one. There's an ethanol plant there. There's the Mid-American Power Plant. There's the largest Google data center, I think, anywhere in the world. And then you've got the Bungie soybean factory, which is massive.
It's several hundred acres, I believe.
Yeah, big Bungie, industrial stuff there. Now all you need is maybe like a Walmart distribution center or something. You'll have it all. Okay, and that's your news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. They know mortgages. Going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to bring on Doug Buchanan. He is the owner of Renze, R-E-N-Z. Renze is a company that you may not know, but you see their work everywhere. Fascinating company, well over 100 years old here in Omaha. You're going to learn a lot about it, and you're going to enjoy that company spotlight. You're listening to Jeff Beals and Brad Williams in for Trenton Magid on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. Well, you heard Eric Oberemp's voice there for D&M Roofing just a moment ago. We love that company, and we also love Dingman's Collision Center. Thanks to both of those firms for sponsoring Grow Omaha. Jeff Beals here, sitting with Brad Williams of E&A Consulting and Brad Williams Photography. He is substituting for the vacationing Trenton Magid. We have a company spotlight today. We are going to introduce you to a firm called Renze, R-E-N-Z-E. Renze has been around for a long time, and we've got the owner with us, Doug Buchanan. Good morning, Doug. Welcome.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. It's good to have you here. And we love highlighting prestigious Omaha firms that have been around for a long time. How many years has Renze been here?
Well, Renze was founded in 1895.
Wow.
And so 128 years, I think, is what we're on right now. And, founded originally for the sole purpose of building floats for Exarban, for all the electric parades.
No kidding. That's what
we
it
were
was?
a captured shop to Exarban. And pretty much that way until 1927.
Really?
When the barn, they called it the den, I guess they called it, when it burnt to the ground, took all the float wagons with it. So, yeah, we had really one customer for all those years.
So,
crazy.
And in those days when electricity was a newish thing, those electrical float parades,
they were fabulous.
They were a big deal.
Yeah, they followed the trolley tracks, and people came from Chicago, Denver. It was a big, big deal. And, the founders of Exarban, I mean, that was their whole, Exarban turned, turn Nebraska around.
Yeah.
Being spelled backwards, and it worked.
Huh.
So, but the fire almost took the company. They continued doing sign painting and just exhibits for storefronts, that type of thing. And my grandfather bought it in 1935.
1935.
He worked for years, for about 10 years, worked for Gene Epley of Epley Airfield and bought and sold hotels from him. And got tired of traveling the country. And my grandfather always loved tinkering and engineering and graphic arts. And so he bought it from the Renze family. And ran it for years, got us into screen printing, which led us to screen printing billboards. We used to ship billboards all over the country. My father went to Omaha University, now at UNO, I guess. And when he graduated from his master's degree, following his return from the service in World War II, he joined my grandfather. And we really stepped up the screen printing. So billboards became big, taxi cab posters, decals. Yet at the same time, we continued to build exhibits. And so there's the trade show thing, continued.
Well, and traditionally, Doug, when I think of Renze, that was always what I thought of, because when I first moved back to Omaha in 1994, I worked for Clarkson College, and yeah, we would go do college fairs and all that, and the display we set up with all the graphics, that was Renze, and that's what I always thought about with Renze. And now you guys do so much more.
Yeah, thank you. And that's still a big part. I mean, the HR displays, we warehouse all of Kiewitz and HDR's, Farm Credit Bank, so they send us their shows through a portal, and we ship their equipment and store it.
Yeah, once I got to know the company, it's really amazing. You can't go anywhere in Omaha without seeing stuff that you built, whether it be a graphic on a wall at an office building to a giant trade show. I mean, you guys did one a year or two ago, a trade show booth that was probably 2 stories tall, wasn't it? I mean,
yes. We built an exhibit for Conagra. It was a really tight project. It almost took 10 years off my life. I mean, it was one of those. It was 27 feet tall.
Yeah,
it had 2-story conference rooms. The bottom conference room was air conditioned, and it had a full commercial kitchen in it. Yeah, it was something. As a matter of fact, I'll try to do it quickly. There's a funny story about that. We had a huge grocery sack over the top of the exhibit with their product flying over the exhibit. Wow. And at the time, Conagra owned Butterball Turkey. And so we had a gentleman in Council Bluffs who was sculpting an enormous turkey, and we had put graphics on it, and it would fit. The whole turkey would fit in the back of a truck. And we were waiting to ship this exhibit to Chicago, and we did not have the turkey. All of a sudden, there's a lot of commotion, and everybody comes running out. Well, on the way over to the plant, crossing the river, the strap broke, and the turkey fell out of the truck, starts bouncing around on the interstate, almost ended up in the river. I mean, we almost single-handedly killed the Butterball brand. But we made it, and that was a lot of fun. And, we do work for the zoo. The zoo is one of our proud moments. Mm-hmm. The zoo has an amazing design department. They've got really a lot of talent there, and they push us to be better. They want some really crazy stuff.
So you would do everything from just a flat, say like a poster is what I want to call it, to an actual like 3D signage for them, right?
Yes, absolutely. We kind of shy away a little bit from definitely from outdoor signage, because that's a whole different deal. A lot of engineering, a lot of wind load.
Yes, hey, there's a little wind around this part of the country.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Although we did do all the graphics. They're outside the new gorilla house at the zoo. Cool. So that's a lot of fun.
The way one of the reasons we got talking a few months ago, and you guys are a sponsor on our Grow Omaha newsletter, Doug, which we greatly appreciate. We ran a big story. We always have a big story in our newsletter, and it was the unveiling of Scooter's new national headquarters in Miracle Hills.
Exactly.
And the interior is beautiful. And I got a call from Mike Compton in your office. He said, "Hey, we did that project," and we started talking, and that's how one thing led to another, and now you guys are one of our sponsors. But I don't think a lot of people realize that Renze does so much of that corporate branding.
We do.
And by the way, that office that Scooters put together in Miracle Hills is gorgeous.
Yeah, thank you. And not only that, we do athletic facilities. So all the locker rooms for the Creighton Blue Jays at CHI, we did all that work, designed by Dakey Design here in Omaha. Fantastic, and the branding, interior branding, corporate branding has become bigger for us than anything we do. A lot of people think we're a bigger exhibit builder, but the branding has just exploded. For instance, when the TD Ameritrade built that new building there in Old Mill, there's 13 stories of custom wallpaper, dimensional graphics, window film. I mean, huge project for us. And we do we do TD's work and now Schwab's work all over the country.
All over the country.
Yeah.
So they're a national client that you were able to grow right here in town.
We install graphics and branding all over.
Doug, tell us a little bit about your facility, where the office and the plant are located.
Well, in all of our history, we've, I think, had 5 locations, and we now are over on 16th and Pershing Drive, 90,000 square feet. We employ 45 people. Down a little bit during COVID. Wasn't a good time for exhibit builder, but we all suffered through that. Everybody's got their story about how they made it through that. I think one of the things that's really been our focus, well, first and foremost, are people. We have great people. In my time, I've seen 4 people retire with 40 years. We just had a gentleman last year retire with over 30. We've got 2 people still employed with us that have over 30 years. So people make us what we are. But we've always been very innovative about our equipment. So we do flatbed printing, we do roll-to-roll printing, and the newest thing in the last 6, 7, 8 years is fabric. So we do dye sublimation fabric printing. You mentioned the airport. Yep. So all the fabric that goes up the long corridors, a lot of that is ours.
Yeah. So another minute with Doug Buchanan, head of Renze. Been around 128 years. What's coming next? What's the future hold for you guys?
Well, we just wrapped up last month the installation of a brand new fabric printer manufactured in Italy, and it's a hot rod. It is 3 times faster than the equipment we had, and that's really exciting. We also, and you can see it on our Renze.com, we just installed, about a year ago, I guess, installed a new flatbed printer from Switzerland. And it's the first in North America to have fluorescent ink. So we've just been doing some work highlighting the iconic neon signs, La Casa and Broncos, and using our neon ink, our fluorescent ink for that. And so that's exciting. So it's, keeping up with the equipment.
Well, Doug, we appreciate you joining us. Brad, did you?
Oh, no, I had another question about the whole Creighton locker room situation.
Yes.
That to me seems like where you got to one-up the next team. Like,
absolutely.
If you ever had a license to try to go over the top, that seems like the perfect time to use it.
Yeah, you bet. It's been a good market for us.
Absolutely, yeah. And big-time athletic programs love that branding with their logo everywhere.
Oh, it's beautiful. And on campus.
Doug, we appreciate you joining us. Congratulations to you and your colleagues on your success, and best wishes on the next 128 years of Renze history to come.
I appreciate it.
And we're glad to have you as part of the Grow Omaha team.
We're glad to be part of the family.
All right, that's Doug Buchanan from Renze. We're going to take our middle of the show break for the news, and when we come back, we'll have our commercial real estate development spotlight brought to you by Noddle Companies, and Brad and I are going to talk about some possible transportation options through North Omaha. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing. Back in a moment, News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show, Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Trenton Magid has the day off, so we have Brad Williams here in his stead. You guys know Brad. He's the renowned photographer, also with civil engineering firm E&A Consulting and frequent Grow Omaha contributor. It is time for the Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight, brought to you by Noddle Companies. NoddleCompanies.com is where you can find out information about Omaha's premier real estate developer. They do business outside of Omaha too, but big projects here in town like Village Point Medical Center, River's Edge in Council Bluffs, the Builders District in North Downtown, Steel Ridge in the Papillion-Gretna area. And I do want to talk about a news item in Exarban Village, Brad, which is one of Noddle Company's projects. There used to be a store in the southernmost building of Exarban Village called Backwoods.
Yeah, right next to Voodoo Taco.
Cool outdoor stuff right next to Voodoo Taco. That is now a beautiful art gallery. It is for an artist and Holocaust survivor by the name of Samuel Bach. It's either Bach or Bach, B-A-K. Apologize, I don't know for sure. And this is through UNO. UNO is going to put several of this artist's works there. They're surrealist paintings. And I walked by the other day when I was taking a walk through Exarban Village and just kind of looked in the window. Looks like a pretty cool place.
Great. I saw the article pop up, and last night we were in Exarban, and I saw the signage, but I haven't had the time to actually read the article and see what he did, but looking forward to checking it out.
Well, and it looks like today is the grand opening ceremony. And it's the Samuel Bach Museum and Learning Center. It's through UNO. And it's my understanding that they're going to use this space in Exarban Village for a few years and then have more of a permanent spot, probably, I would imagine, on campus or something like that. But this was a nice addition for Exarban Village, and you're going to want to be sure to go and check that out.
We'll also get the museum some great exposure being down there on that main street right across from the park. A lot of people will get to maybe see the name for the first time and see what his work's all about.
Well, and I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit this, but this is the first I knew about it. And so therefore, there's a lot of power in using a retail space.
Yeah, definitely.
In a spot like Exarban where you have so much foot traffic and different kinds of people going on a regular basis. And that is your Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight, brought to you by Noddle Companies. And like I said earlier, you can find out more about Noddle by going to NoddleCompanies.com. Well, Brad, interesting talk lately about North 30th Street through the Florence area, which is also U.S. Highway 75. Got a lot of cars that go through there every day, about 20,000 cars a day. 6% of those are heavy trucks. And so there's been a lot of hand-wringing over the years about the safety and the lack of ambience, about having cattle trucks rolling through what's supposed to be a walkable district in old downtown Florence. And so Metropolitan Area Planning Agency, we've been talking about this for years, but recently just released some options that came out of a study. And the big question is, do we enhance North 30th Street to slow down traffic, or do we build perhaps another highway that would cut over into Iowa up to Interstate 680? And so, cost is an issue, but this is something that's an important subject for us to consider.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's been around for a while. I remember Jim Suttle, when he was running for mayor or city council, one of the two, he was a big proponent of building a new bridge over the Missouri River and getting that truck traffic out of Florence and onto its own separate highway. I think two of the proposals did just do that, build a bridge and get that truck traffic out of there.
Yeah, I can remember when Suttle was talking about that. And at the time, I think that was before the 2011 Great Missouri River flood, which turned that whole area on the Iowa side of the river north of Epley Airport into a lake. I think the thought was, hey, put a bunch of warehouses and manufacturing plants there. It'd be great economic development for Potawatomi County and all that. Now I don't know if that's so possible with all the flooding, but there's a lot to like about this idea of putting the highway there. If for no other reason, there's a ton of traffic that comes into Epley Airport from the north. Yeah. Be a heck of a lot easier to get to the airport.
So I actually looked at this a year or two ago, just kind of playing around on the Douglas County website, and it's actually not that hard to do because the city has a lot of land up there. There's some abandoned railroad land up there, so you really could build coming off the Stores Expressway, head north and pretty much stay on city-owned land and get across the river, and then you would have to work with the farmers up there. But then the interchange on the Iowa side for 680 is already constructed too. So you wouldn't have to build an interchange. You wouldn't have to mess with any of the existing traffic on the interstate. You would just have the work to do on the Stores Expressway.
And you could drive right by Renze.
Yeah. And a bridge over the Missouri River is not cheap by any means. I'm not saying that. But when you take out a lot of the factors of building an interchange and acquiring land, it really would streamline the process, I think.
Hey, really quickly before we break, before our last segment, sounds like there's some cool plans coming to the 120th and Fort Street area. Went through planning board this week.
Yeah. Again, another thing that we find on the planning board, they have an outdoor or indoor recreation building that shows about 8 pickleball courts. Mm-hmm. It looks like they have a dining room. There's no name attached to it. It's always just a generic. It's an indoor recreation building. And then the plan also showed a hotel just to the north. So the pickleball place, whatever it is, would be just south of where Boondockers used to be. And then the hotel would be on the Boondockers and the lot to the west.
And Mulhall's, which owns that land, would be developing it. So, we'll keep our eye on it.
Mulhall's
sounds like a heck of a project.
And they've developed the land to the north or to the east of it also. So it would be just a continuation. They call it Roanoke, the continuation of the Roanoke development. Yeah,
and that's a very nice development there. Well, we're going to take our final break of the show. And when we come back, it's going to be the Turner Construction Lightning Round. I'm looking at the list, and I see all sorts of things on there for us to talk about. So stay with us. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals sitting next to Brad Williams, who's substituting for Trenton Maggot today. And it's time for your Turner Construction Lightning Round, in which we talk about a lot of things in a short period of time. Thank you to Turner for being the sponsor of this segment. Turner is, I tell you what, great company to be your contractor for small, medium, and large projects, and also a great company for anyone who's interested in working in the trades. Turner is very community focused. For instance, making this segment of Grow Omaha possible, but they do so many other things in the community as well. And if you're thinking, why do I know Turner other than listening to Grow Omaha? Sarpy County Data Center might come to mind, one of the largest construction projects in Nebraska history, but also, if you see a lot of these Chase Bank branches going up around town, Turner Construction does those. Like I said, big, small, medium projects, they do it all. Very customer focused, treat their employees like gold, and we're proud to have them as part of the Grow Omaha team. All right, Brad, are we ready?
Sure, let's go.
Okay. We've got some new restaurant concepts coming into the Trio building at 15th and Farnham Street. One of them is going to be a health-oriented restaurant called Untamed Kitchen. And then there's going to be a still-to-be-named upscale coffee shop. They're supposed to open here sometime this year, but this is a cool renovation project of a historic building. Yeah, it's a neat building, and actually we learned just earlier that it was originally one of Renze's buildings. So if you can picture, it's where Jazz Louisiana Kitchen was for a long time. It's going to have 18 apartments upstairs and 2 restaurants down below, and the Jimmy John stays there, and what is it? Kitchen table. Kitchen table. They stay. Hey Jay's is a new breakfast and lunch concept. Plans to open next fall in a 3,000 square foot space near 156th and State Street, so pretty far northwest. Owners of that company have a couple of coffee shops in town. Maple 88 Mexican Kitchen plans to open at, appropriately, 88th and Maple. This new restaurant menu has not been published last time we checked, but social media indicate the restaurant will have Mexican seafood, birria tacos. Everyone loves birria tacos. And ramen birria.
Oh, interesting.
Ramen birria. That sounds like a little bit of a cultural mashup there.
It sure does.
With some food, but I'll try it. What the heck? Got some Nebraska Crossing news. Cold Stone Creamery and Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory will be opening at Nebraska Crossing on, and they'll both open on February 9th. They're the same store, right?
Yeah.
They have the same ownership. They share a space together. So Cold Stone and Rocky Mountain, February 9th. Yeti is going to open in Nebraska Crossing on March 9th. And Yeti, this will be their first store in Nebraska or Iowa. The company's based out of Texas. And get a load of this. They only have 13 stores in 7 states.
That's great when you could pull in something like that.
Yeah. And Doug Buchanan from Renze, who we interviewed earlier, is holding up his Yeti insulated cooler right there.
They have a lot of loyal fans that are excited they're coming.
Yeah, people love that place. And then here's another newish retailer coming to Omaha, Rowan, R-O-W-A-N, Rowan. They plan to open their first Nebraska or Iowa store soon at Village Point. This is a New York-based company that does ear piercings, all of which are conducted by licensed nurses. Rowan only has 24 locations in 14 states. Closest existing locations are in Minneapolis and Chicago. So that's a nice catch for Village Point.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Village Point and Nebraska Crossing both always out there, trying to bring in the next new people. They're really doing a good job of attracting people to Omaha.
Oh,
businesses.
yeah. And since we mentioned Nebraska Crossing, one other thing about Nebraska Crossing, we had mentioned a few months ago that Athleta is opening at Nebraska Crossing. We now know that opening will be this summer. Okay. So that'll be another addition. Now, there are other Athleta market stores in the market, but yeah, Yeti will be a one-of-a-kind there. Plans are underway for a restaurant called Destiny Cafe. It's going to be a nonprofit restaurant that'll employ adults with disabilities. It's going to serve breakfast and lunch. Organizers are currently working on fundraising and site selection, and they hope to have Destiny Cafe operational sometime in 2024. Clean Juice will hold a ribbon cutting February 9th for its new store in One Pacific Place. Health foods, healthy juices, this sort of thing. National chain out in North Carolina, 170 locations in 27 states. They used to have one in downtown Omaha.
Okay.
But that one, I believe, closed. And the music is playing, which means that we've got to be quiet and make room for a different show on KFAB. But we've sure enjoyed being a part of your day. I'm Jeff Beals.
I'm Brad Williams.
Substituting for Trenton Magid. We're brought to you by Turner Construction, Dingman's Collision Center, and D&M Roofing and Siding. We'll talk with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.